Hi, welcome to Satyan's Office 365. Today I'm going to discuss a little bit about SharePoint Online and particularly content management and how we can do that. So let's jump into it. You can find other screencasts and at my blog. I did an implementing drop-off library for SharePoint 2010. So those who are interested, you can actually check that because that has more detail compared to what I'm going to show in online. Technically both are same, except there are few changes that in the central admin which I'm going to show you. So these are the 6 steps that we are really going to do in order to get content management in SharePoint Online. The reason I'm doing all this is because a lot of my clients did ask me how to manage content. It's pretty simple, but really they do not know what's involved in SharePoint 2010 online. SharePoint Online 365. So just to resolve that, I'm going to show some demo on here. So the first thing is we'll be activating the content organizer, and then we are going to create a custom content type, and then this is the change compared to SharePoint 2010 or SharePoint on-premise, because the central administration is different. In SharePoint Online we have to create a center connection in records management, and I'm going to show that. So the next thing is check the organizer settings and create some rules, and then finally creating the drop-off library on the front page and then configuring it, and we're done. So let's go to demo. Okay, this is the site. This is Office 365 and it's SharePoint Online. I just created a sub-site for drop-off demo. So if you remember, the first thing we need to do is to go ahead and activate the feature for content organizer. So let's go to the site settings, and within site settings we have manage site features. But before I go there, I want you to see here within here we have nothing for content organization here. So but watch out what happens once this is the content organizer. So let me now what we have to do is simply go ahead and activate it. So that's activated. If you go back to our site settings, now you can see there are a couple things added here, and not only that, we have the drop-off library that I will show you what we'll do with that. So the next thing is we are going to create the content type. So this is where you can use the site content types. Now the previous example, what I did is I assumed a recruiting company where all the potential candidate would be dropping off their resumes for whatever the skill they have, and the recruiting company is organizing the content as they come in. So if there are 10 people, few of them are SharePoint, few of them are SQL Server, or few of them C#, VB, whatsoever, but when they drop in their resume, they would be selecting their skill set, and the drop-off library knows exactly where to put that particular resume. So that's the main goal. So this could be expanded into any other thing in different companies. So some companies have coming from salespeople a type of document that would be redirected to any place they want it intent, basically whatever the intention of the document to be placed. So let's go ahead and create a content type. In our case, since we are taking resume, so let's create a content type called resume. So resume, I would say content type. Okay, and since I am most of the time this content type is basically documents, and sorry, this is a custom content type. No, and then this is a document. So we would create this in a custom content types group. And now what we do is we need to add couple of columns so that we can identify what the who that person is. You will understand what I mean. Add a new site column. Let me call skill set, and I'm going to choose choice here. Within choice I have SharePoint, SQL Server, and C# VB.NET. I'm going to use a drop down menu and then allow fill-in choices. All these are pretty much same. Now the initial choice is SharePoint. By default it selects the SharePoint, and then here in SharePoint Online we have something new, custom column validation. That is basically, in our case we don't need it, but however you can validate the data input by the submitter. So let's go ahead and say OK. Skill set, we need this one has to be required, so we gotta go and say make it required. OK. I'm gonna add one more thing, just the user can put a comment explaining what he is good at, what he or she is good at. I'm gonna put 255, that's more than enough. Single column. OK. So we have the content type set. Now what we need to do is we have to take this content type and create two different target libraries. I am saying two because I'm only, for the demo purpose, I'm only doing two here, but you can go ahead and any number of document libraries. So let me go ahead and show you what I mean. Let's go to site contents, add an app, create a document library. This is where SharePoint resumes. Most of the time you'll understand while I'm doing it, why I'm doing that. Same thing, document library. This is SQL Server resumes. And if you want, we can create one more just for the heck of it. I'm going to, let's say VB.NET. So I have this. Now we need to add the content type that we created. So drop off is being created automatically. We created SQL Server, VB.NET, SharePoint. So let's go ahead to SQL Server resumes and library settings. Let's add the content type. So what we have to do is allow management of content types. This way the one we created can be managed in here. Add from existing site content types, the one which we just created. So we created and we put it in, remember the custom content types. There you go, resume content type, add. OK. Come on. And we will be doing the same thing for other libraries that we just created. So we would go to, right now we did SQL Server. Let's go to SharePoint resumes, library settings, advanced settings. Now allow management content types. OK. Remember, I'm going pretty fast here because if you really want the detail, please do watch my SharePoint 2010 drop-off library demo. I have gone each in detail, so that would help you. One last. Settings. Okay. So, and also there's one more, drop-off library. forgot, that's more important. Yes, it's already set, yes. And now, so we have drop-off library, add from existing content types. Okay, so we took care of that. Now what we need to do is anything drop in drop-off library would be redirected to different. That means we have to create a connection between the drop-off library and SQL Server resumes, SharePoint resumes, drop-off library. So in SharePoint 2010, the central administration is different, but on here, Office 365, we need to have the admin access. Go to SharePoint. Come on. And then within the SharePoint, you see records management. Go here. Click on it. I already created one just before doing this demo, but I'm going to create one more. So let's say resume connection. I'm going to abbreviate it, and oh, I needed to get the URL, and that URL I will get it from content organization rules. I totally forgot, so let me go back. Okay, we are back at our main site. So let's go to site settings and content organizer settings, and we would get this. This is the link. This is saying that this is where the web service URL, and we go back to our previous one, paste it here, and then say this one send to action is basically we have three choices. One is either copy, that means when somebody drops in the drop-off library, it just makes a copy and takes that copy and puts in wherever the target location it's supposed to go. That's one choice. Second choice is move. When you're moving, it moves it from there. That means when you drop something in the drop-off library, you will not see it. That means it takes that, it understands where it's supposed to go, and then it moves it. So let's put it move. Add connection. Oh, by the way, you could put some explanation here, which is alright. Let's see. Okay, it created connection. Now we can go back to our content organizer setting. We're done with that. Now let's create some rules. Now that we have rules, this is the fun part. Let's create one. Start with new rule. Come on. Let's call it SharePoint rule. Now I want to put the highest priority. Content type, we have our custom content type called resume content type, and now here is the condition of the rule. So if the skill set is equal to SharePoint. Now how did it get? Because in our content type what we created has the options. So what we're saying is, when for this particular content type, if the skill set is equal to SharePoint, we need to move it to target location. So let's select the target location, and you guessed it right, SharePoint resumes, right? Because SharePoint. That's all there is to it. That's the rule. Now let's go ahead and create rule number 2. Once this is done, next rule, we would say SQL Server rule highest. Same thing, because we chose one content type. Now here skill set should be equal to SQL Server. If that is there, then we would point it to SQL Server resumes. Hope you're getting the idea. I'm going to do one more because we created another one. Let's say VB rule, same thing, custom content types resume, and content type skill set is equal to VB.net, and this will go here. So let SharePoint do the rules engine, and then we don't have to worry. Really, that's basically it. So now let's go to the main page. We have set the rules. Oh, we need to this is the first page. Do you have a couple choices? You can actually go to drop-off library directly, and you can upload or drop the resume from whoever the potential candidate. That means you would be giving permissions to this drop-off library page. Or what you could do is you could add the drop-off library on the front page itself, and that would be hidden. So let's do that. We edit this page, insert, have a part, and drop-off library, add. It's added drop-off library. Let's save it. Now we have the drop-off library on the main page. So if you gave permission to this particular page, then they would only see here. Now let's go ahead and upload a dummy doc1, let's say, and we add it. So now it brings up the content organizer rules thing. How do you want it? Let's say title, whatever that is, SharePoint resume. Now it is selected SharePoint because the skill set is that. Comment, okay, SharePoint or whatever, submit. So what happens now is the drop-off library takes the document, it checks the rule, and takes it wherever it's supposed to go. In this case, we moved it, so it took it to SharePoint resumes. So let's confirm that. You don't see it here. Now if you go to SharePoint resumes, you must see that dummy doc1. So let's do one more. This time we upload a dummy doc2, and let's select something else. SQL Server data. Yeah, this is not optional, so this is optional, so I'm kinda it. Boom, it went to SQL Server resumes. Okay, so you don't see it here, but is it there? Yes, it is here. Now the final one, there is nothing here. Go to drop-off demo, upload. Before I do that, I want to also explain something else. What you could do is, online gives you few things. Let me bring up my dummy doc. Where is that? Okay, I could take this and drag and drop it. You could do that, but there is a problem with it. What's going to happen is it's just going to drop it. Now you have to go to edit the properties and then select what skill set. So there is an education needed for whoever is doing that. Okay, if you drop it, then come back here and then select the skill set. Then it will do same thing, VB.net. Okay. Then the rule engine will take care of that, saved into final location. Okay, drop off VB.net. So you won't see it here, but you would see it in the. So there is one thing where you can drag and drop it. It adds, but the rules will not be executed. So that's the only thing. But if you upload it, it does it. Now I did some research on it, but I found out that it is by design. I honestly do not know why at this point. I have to do some more research on it, but however, that is what we have. So hopefully this will give you some idea on how to, organize your content. And the final thing I just want to tell you is you can set up certain rules on this. SQL Server resumes, there may be like 100, 200, so the library will be filled up pretty quick. So you can set up some management policy, like retention policies are on this content type. So if you go to this content type, because we added any document which comes onto this, you can have a policy saying enable retention, and you could say after, once it is created, let's say 1 month, after 1 month you can decide to send it to recycle bin or permanently delete it or start a workflow, or you can do anything. I mean, once created, you can actually start a workflow. That means redirecting the resume to a proper recruiter, and then recruiter looks at it. So this is the SharePoint Online is working for you. That means it is creating a workflow process and alerting all the recruiters, hey, there is a new resume coming, okay, let's start work on it. Same thing with the sales. If there is a new sales offer comes in, then the proper person will be automatically alerted. So things like that you can do a lot. But in that case, if you want to go, that's a different demo. I will try to do that, but just to let you know. Okay, so that would be finally. Hope you'll use this. Okay, thank you.